Megumi Fushiguro. Megumi Fushiguro is a direct descendant of the Zenin clan and the inheritor of its most prized technique, the Ten Shadows technique. Although he rejects the Zenin name, his bloodline ties make him one of the clan's most dangerous assets. The Ten Shadows technique allows the user to summon and control Shikigami through shadow manipulation.
Max Elephant!
Creating a versatile combat system capable of offense, defense, scouting, and adaptation. Unlike straightforward destructive techniques, Ten Shadows is modular. Each Shikigami serves a defined function. Divine Dogs specialize in close combat and tracking. Nue provides aerial mobility and lightning-based range attacks. Max Elephant delivers large-scale water pressure output. This layered toolkit allows Megumi to adjust mid-fight, countering different enemy types without relying on a single win condition. The technique becomes truly lethal through its inheritance system. When a Shikigami is destroyed, its power transfers to the others, increasing their strength over time. It also includes Mahoraga, whose adaptive evolution allows it to adjust to any phenomenon, including curse techniques, eventually rendering previously lethal attacks ineffective. Megumi's domain expansion, Chimera Shadow Garden, further enhances this system. While incomplete, it allows him to flood the battlefield with Shadow Mass, duplicate Shikigami manifestations, and attack from multiple vectors simultaneously. Inside this domain, his summoning speed and unpredictability increase drastically.
Chimera Shadow Garden.
Megumi represents the Zenin clan's theoretical pinnacle, a technique capable of infinite adaptation, battlefield control, and scaling potential that rivals the strongest sorcerers in the series. Toji Fushiguro. Toji Fushiguro, born Toji Zenin, represents the absolute extreme of heavenly restriction. Unlike partial restrictions that trade moderate cursed energy for enhanced physique, Toji possessed no cursed energy. In exchange, his body achieved complete physical optimization, superhuman strength, reflexes that rival domain-level reactions, extreme durability, and heightened sensory perception capable of reading air displacement and muscle tension rather than cursed energy flow. The critical advantage of zero cursed energy is systemic invisibility. High-level sorcerers track opponents by sensing cursed energy output and fluctuation. Toji cannot be read through that system. He does not register. This forces opponents to rely purely on conventional senses, which creates fatal reaction delays in elite combat. To compensate for lacking a technique, Toji specialized in cursed tools. The inverted spear of heaven nullifies cursed techniques on contact, effectively shutting down abilities like infinity. The chain of 1,000 miles extends infinitely so long as its end remains concealed, creating unpredictable range control. Combined with precision timing, these tools allow Toji to dismantle even top-tier sorcerers. His defeat of Satoru Gojo during the Hidden Inventory chapter illustrates a layered strategy. Exhaust the opponent, exploit blind spots in perception, and apply direct technique nullification at the exact moment of vulnerability. Toji does not overwhelm with cursed energy. He wins through preparation, mechanical counters, and execution precision. Within the Zenin lineage, Toji is the ultimate contradiction. A clan that worships inherited techniques produced a man who erased technique reliance entirely and became lethal through physical supremacy and strategic application of curse tools. If this breakdown just rewired how you see the power system, subscribe, like, and share it before Toji appears behind you with a curse tool. And if the hype button is there, press it so YouTube knows we're not hallucinating this level of detail. Naobito Zenin. Naobito Zenin was the 26th head of the Zenin clan and recognized as the fastest sorcerer alive, excluding Satoru Gojo. His combat foundation was projection sorcery, which divides 1 second into 24 frames and requires predefined movements. If a target fails to follow the same frame rule upon contact, they are frozen for 1 second. Naobito mastered projection sorcery through precision and experience. He controlled the tempo of battle, chaining frame-perfect movements to apply constant pressure. By eliminating hesitation between thought and action, he achieved near-instant execution. During the Shibuya incident, his speed advantage was evident against high-level cursed spirits. However, projection sorcery has inherent limitations. It requires strict adherence to the 24-frame rule. Any miscalculation in movement planning results in self-freezing for 1 second, which is fatal in high-level combat. Additionally, environmental disruption and domain expansion mechanics can interfere with frame control. Naobito's lethality stems from precision-based acceleration. He represents the Zenin clan's peak traditional sorcerer model, inherited technique supremacy, battlefield experience, and speed dominance achieved through rigid temporal structure rather than raw physical transcendence. Naoya Zenin. Naoya Zenin was the clan's youngest prodigy and its most aggressive modern tactician. His combat identity revolved around absolute tempo control. Rather than reacting to opponents, he forced them into his pace, compressing exchanges into bursts so fast that most fighters could not recalibrate in time. He wielded projection sorcery inherited from Naobito and paired it with high-level cursed energy reinforcement. This combination allowed him to stack rapid impacts in succession, maintaining forward pressure without leaving recovery gaps. Once he established momentum, opponents were forced into defensive survival rather than strategic counterplay. His greatest strength was rhythm domination. By dictating movement timing and engagement distance, he turned fights into controlled sequences where hesitation meant punishment. Within the clan structure, he embodied technical superiority through precision and speed discipline. However, his defeat exposed a limitation. Tempo-based supremacy depends on the opponent functioning within the same mechanical framework. Against a body that exists outside cursed energy-based scaling, even perfect structure can collapse under overwhelming physical transcendence. Ogi Zenin. Ogi Zenin was a special grade 1 sorcerer and the father of Maki and Mai. His primary combat style revolved around traditional weapon mastery enhanced by cursed energy reinforcement rather than a complex innate technique. Unlike projection-based or summoning techniques within the clan, Ogi's fighting method emphasized direct lethality through precise blade work. What made Ogi dangerous was execution, not versatility. As a special grade 1 sorcerer, he combined refined cursed energy control, strong physical reinforcement, and battlefield experience with his innate technique, blazing courage. This rank signifies a combat-proven sorcerer capable of handling high-level threats independently. However, Ogi's fatal weakness was over-reliance on status and underestimation of physical anomalies. When facing post-awakening Maki, he attempted to treat the fight as a standard engagement, blade versus blade, cursed energy versus cursed energy. But Maki's heavenly restriction granted her complete physical transcendence, eliminating the need for cursed energy output entirely. Ogi's reinforcement could not compensate for the sheer gap in speed, perception, and striking force. His defeat demonstrated a crucial hierarchy within the Zenin clan. Technical mastery and rank mean nothing when faced with a fighter who exists outside the conventional cursed energy system. Jinichi Zenin. Jinichi Zenin was one of the elite members of the Hei unit, the highest-ranking internal combat force within the Zenin clan. Members of Hei are selected based on possession of an innate curse technique and proven battlefield competence, placing Jinichi well above standard Kukuru fighters in both status and lethality. His combat style centered on overwhelming force output through his innate technique, Missile Fists, which unleashed large-scale cursed energy blasts from his strikes. Unlike precision-based techniques, Jinichi specialized in high-output area destruction, making him especially dangerous in open combat where he could pressure multiple opponents at once and restrict movement through sheer explosive force. When confronted by awakened Maki, Jinichi's large-scale attacks failed to compensate for the gap in physical speed and reaction time. His destructive bursts required measurable activation and directional commitment. Maki, operating outside of cursed energy detection entirely, bypassed that window and eliminated him decisively. Jinichi's defeat reinforces a structural flaw in the Zenin hierarchy. Destructive power alone is insufficient when facing an opponent whose physical parameters exceed reinforced human limits. Chojuro Zenin. Chojuro Zenin was a member of the Hei unit, placing him among the clan's highest internal combat ranks. Hei members were elite sorcerers selected for possessing innate techniques and proven battlefield capability, making them significantly more dangerous than standard fighters within the household. His innate technique allowed him to manipulate stone, giving him environmental control during combat. By shaping and weaponizing the surrounding terrain, he could restrict movement, create defensive barriers, or launch reinforced projectiles, making him particularly effective in structured engagements. However, like other Hei elites, his strength relied on cursed energy-based scaling. Against a fully awakened heavenly restriction user such as Maki, environmental control and technique activation were overwhelmed by superior physical dominance and speed. Ranta Zenin. Ranta Zenin, a member of the Hei unit, specialized in control-based combat. His curse technique functioned as a restraint ability, temporarily immobilizing targets by binding their movement through cursed energy interference. This made him a tactical asset in coordinated engagements. Control techniques are highly effective against conventional sorcerers because mobility is central to combat. If an opponent cannot move freely, they cannot reposition, counterattack, or activate complex techniques safely. Ranta's role was to create openings rather than finish fights himself. However, his technique depended on the target possessing cursed energy. Against awakened Maki, who had none, the binding mechanism destabilized and the strain shifted back onto him. His defeat highlighted a structural weakness. Cursed energy-based restraint fails against someone completely outside that system. Maki Zenin. Maki Zenin began life with an incomplete heavenly restriction, granting her enhanced physical ability while leaving her with almost no usable cursed energy. Because of this, she depended entirely on extreme physical training and curse tools to compete with fully equipped sorcerers. Despite her discipline and combat awareness, the clan viewed her as inferior due to her lack of technique. The turning point comes when Mai sacrifices herself, completing Maki's heavenly restriction. From that moment forward, Maki possesses zero cursed energy paired with total physical optimization. Her strength, speed, durability, and sensory perception elevate beyond reinforced Grade 1 sorcerers. She no longer interacts with the cursed energy detection system at all, making her movements difficult to track and predict. Unlike others who relied purely on natural advantage, Maki reaches this state after years of structured training within the Zenin hierarchy. She understands combat roles, technique timing, and clan tactics from experience. When she returns to the estate, her assault is systematic. She dismantles the Kukuru unit, defeats the Hei members, and overcomes the special Grade 1 fighters within the clan through overwhelming physical dominance and disciplined weapon execution.